Welcome to Fortyborn, the limited Lorcana podcast. We're a gaming veteran.
And gaming senior novice.
Explore all things Lorcana. With a focus on limited formats, we cover set reviews, strategy guides, and stuff that nobody asked for.
Let's get grabby. Let's get a little grabby.
I don't know about that one. Are we calling this a grab bag episode?
Grab bag. Yeah.
What is a grab bag?
It's okay. I got you. It's like I think it's like you don't know the contents of what's inside. So it's like like, did you ever, as a kid, you were at a store or something, and at the counter they'd have a little brown bag and be like, "Oh, here's a $1 grab bag," and there'd be junk inside.
Never heard of this.
But you're paying for the mystery. So you're like, it's a grab bag. You don't know what you're gonna get. This
must be something that happens in the north.
Yeah, somebody's got to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, obviously, because grab bag is a thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's the correct definition of grab bag.
We're not even sure if we're going to call this episode the grab bag episode.
Well, now we have to.
Well, it is the 40th episode.
Wow. We made it. 40 episodes.
It's been fun. Unfortunately, we have to stop the podcast now.
Yeah, this is actually why we named it that. We just planned on doing 40 and then being done.
50born starts next week. You saw Dune 2?
Saw Dune 2. I did. I got a lot of hot takes about Dune 2.
I'm so shocked.
Now listen.
You having hot takes about a movie that everyone loves? I am so surprised.
Let me start by saying I also want to love Dune 2. There's nothing about it I don't want to love. Mm-hmm. Incredible actors, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, incredible. Like, I just love everything about it. I love sci-fi. I love
the book.
I really love the book. Yeah. But the problem, I think, was that I finished the book like a day before I went. There are a lot of changes from the book to the movie. I know every time a movie's made off a book, people say there are a lot of changes, blah, blah, blah. But these seem like substantial. Some things were changed that I was like, totally fine. I get it. It's a movie. Fine with that. Some stuff was like big storylines.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Are we spoiling stuff? I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't really want to spoil anything.
It's still too early.
Yeah, so that's when this comes out.
Is it too early?
Yeah, when this comes out, actually.
Maybe we could be like, hey, there's a spoiler about to come. And then we can spoil.
Okay, sure. For the next, 30 seconds to 30 minutes, we're going to have spoilers. Go ahead.
Okay, so in the book, his mom has the baby. Mm-hmm. She has his sister.
Anya Taylor-Joy is born in the book.
And it's like the wildest, like, I don't even totally know what to picture her as, because the way she's described in the book is like some scary, like, kind of demon child.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy.
That can speak as a child and everything. Like, crazy. So anyways.
It is disturbing in the book, yes.
Yeah, it sounds really disturbing. So that did not happen at all. And that's how, this part's a super spoiler. So if you didn't turn it off, like, do it right now. But the baby child kills the Baron.
Yeah, this infant.
Yeah.
I mean, she matures rapidly.
Yeah, but she's like still like child. But yeah. But she
as a child murders Baron Harkonnen.
And in the movie, it's like a throwaway. Lisan El Gaib murders the Baron.
Wait, you thought that was throwaway?
It felt like so quick to me.
No. Dude, that was such a momentous scene.
I don't know. It felt like a little like beep. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. How many times do you want him to stab the fat guy?
I don't know. It just like felt like I don't know.
You want him to stab him more slowly next time?
Now the other, I just wanted to be like I don't know.
Denis Villeneuve, I hope you're listening to this for Dune 3. Taylor has some takes for you.
Now, some of the changes, like when he's convincing everyone why he's not going to kill I can't think of the guy's name, but of the Emperor. No, of the Fremen, the like leader of the Fremen.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like telling the whole group, he's like, "Oh, you want me to kill him?" In the book, he's like using logic and stuff, and he still uses the voice, but he's like convincing them, making a compelling argument, like why I shouldn't do this. In the movie, he just fortune tells. It seemed like a cheap trick to get everyone to be like, "Oh, I believe you, we won't do it." But that's fine. I was like, that's a fine change. Like, it's a movie.
Yeah, I think Denny really wanted to lean more into like the core concept of the book, which is like the danger of of persuasive religious leaders.
Yeah. And I didn't like how the last page of the book, because it's basically Timothy Chalamet's character being like,
Wait, you don't like the last page of the book?
yeah, I liked how the movie ended better than the book,
Oh, okay.
because the last page of the book, it's like Timothy Chalamet, obviously not Timothy Chalamet, but it's him basically being like, yeah, I'm gonna marry you, but I'm also gonna keep you around. It's just like a weirdly misogynist.
Brother, the books get weirder.
Yeah, I'm not.
Super spoiler for the books. In book 4, Muad'Dib's son becomes a god that bonds with a worm. His son becomes a worm.
Yeah, dude, I'm not reading that. I'm not getting there.
You don't have to.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a lot of Dune talk.
All right.
I needed to get that out.
So I said 30 seconds. It turns out it was 3 minutes.
We can cut some of that.
I said 30 seconds to 30 minutes. I know us.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Dune 2. But I want to go back. I want to see it again. I think just my freshness of the book was too much.
I want to see it in IMAX.
Yeah, that would be a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, man. That movie was so good.
Totally in.
Yeah, I really liked Elvis Presley as as the Baron's nephew. Now, when they kissed, that made me uncomfortable because I did not see that coming. But no. Great movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to stop or I'll keep talking about it.
Yeah.
But yes, maybe by the time this comes out, we'll have seen it in IMAX, and maybe we'll edit in your actual opinion.
Yeah.
Here.
Probably, yep.
Okay. So the grab bag. We're going to go through... We have so much to catch up on. Mm-hmm. We try to keep these episodes short. I don't know if people care about that.
Yeah.
It's something that I care about. Like, I like shorter episodes on podcasts.
Same.
But some of our best performing episodes are interviews, and they're all over an hour long.
Yeah.
But I think that's also because people other than us are talking.
Yeah, they do enjoy that.
So, yeah. We're gonna go through We're gonna read a teacher email.
Fun.
We got some emails, some submissions for the teacher giveaway. I did get a message from Bruno. He did receive the card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
that's exciting.
Cool.
Because I was,
yeah,
mainly nervous that the card wasn't gonna make it to him, but he got it.
He got it.
So shouts out to Bruno. And then we're gonna read some stuff from the feedback form. We had some responses on that, which we're gonna read through, and then we have so many questions to get through.
Yeah, we gotta answer some questions.
And then we finally have an advice question.
All right.
So somebody finally asked you for some advice.
Poor soul is gonna get some advice.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So teacher email. I just wanted to read some excerpts from this particular email. I thought it was very sweet. A lot of them were either sweet or literally just, this is my name in the school that I work at. And that's fine. That's what we asked for.
Yeah.
So this is from Utsa. I don't know if they're cool with me saying their last name, but I'll read some parts of it. Thank you so much for your work on the podcast. It's a joy to listen to and very educational too.
Wow, thank you. Go on.
Debatable. So speaking of education, I'd like to enter your giveaway, please. I teach music and English at a school in a place. They shared a story that I'm not going to share. It is sweet, but it's just a little long. Oh, this was nice. Taylor, I admire what you do. We have 3 counselors at our school, and they do astounding work. The majority of our kids come from low-income families and or families that have fled war in the Middle East or Ukraine. There are a lot of experiences of trauma and neglect. With the help of our counselors, a lot of kids overcome these experiences and get a good education.
That's amazing. And honestly, my feelings on counselors and being a counselor. So when you get a school with some good counselors, that's a big deal. That's a huge thing. And Uta, let me just say that we cannot do what we're doing without people like you actually in the classrooms and seeing those kids every day. So shouts out to Uta.
Yeah. It sounds like you really care about your students and really are working hard to educate these students that are, it sounds like, coming from some pretty dangerous and probably traumatizing experiences. I just think it's really cool. I don't know, that our podcast is, I don't know, maybe distracting people sometimes that could use a laugh at our dumb jokes.
From the hard things, yeah, for sure.
So, Uta, thanks for writing in. They also said, Jake, thank you for your work, although I'm mainly referring to the podcast as I cannot fathom what your day job entails. Hey, you know what? My parents still don't understand what my day job entails, and that's fine. I hope you become the limited resources of the Lorcana world with hundreds of episodes, crack-a-packs, and Hall of Faming and or live event coverage. I can't wait.
Oh, man.
Well, between Hall of Faming and live event coverage, I think I know which one's more likely. Guys, thank you so much for your work. Should I be the lucky one to win? Blah, blah, blah. Best wishes. I thought this was funny. Best wishes from Uta, sort of like the state. Uta. That's not how we say
Utah.
That's not how we say Utah.
That's great. Maybe we should, though.
We should. P.S. In Germany, we say Ravensburger because that's how the town is pronounced in which the company is based.
You know,
of course, I cannot presume to know how they wish to be called internationally. You're right, Uta.
You know, Uta,
it's Ravensburger.
You make a good point.
Yeah, this is a good point.
Yeah, probably. That probably checks out.
Yeah, I know it really bothers Katie from Live Laugh Lorcana that neither of us say it appropriately.
What do you say?
I say Ravensburger.
Oh, and I say Ravensburger.
And apparently the correct one is Ravensburger.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue as well, you know?
No, maybe the town will change their name.
Ravensburger, Utah, Utah, you know?
Yeah. Tomato.
Tomato.
Wait, what'd you say?
I didn't say tomato, potato.
Oh. All right. Hey, thank you for writing in, Uta.
That was great.
That was encouraging to hear.
Appreciate the story, appreciate your work, and thanks for listening. As always.
Thanks for all that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to read some stuff from the feedback form.
Yes.
So I haven't curated this, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. We had a mix of responders in terms of, I said, the first question was, how long have you been listening? Some people since day one. Some people have been listening to a couple of episodes. You know, we got varied responses. What's your favorite episode or series? A lot of people mentioned Tool Time.
Nice.
And interviews. Those
Cool.
seem to be the things that resonate with people. That's also most of our episodes. And then somebody was thankful that, like, they liked our variety show that we did at the end of the year last year.
Oh, nice.
Because they were reading Demon Copperhead and seemed to be enjoying it.
Nice.
So the answers to that were pretty varied, but it seemed like Tool Time was a pretty common trend. I think a lot of people just like to get tips and stuff related to drafting and sealed because that content is not super prevalent outside of us and the work that Knife does as well.
Yeah.
What do you like about the podcast? The word banter came up quite a bit, which was great. Chill
Nice.
vibes, educational info, likable dudes, thank you. Helpful content, I don't know about that. Sincere but not serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying. That's what that says.
I think they're trying their best.
A couple of mentions of chemistry, which I thought was funny.
Oh, look at us.
Yeah, just best buds. Yeah, good balance, host and content. I thought this was funny. You guys are normal, cool dudes, parentheses, nerds, and not arrogant, douchey nerds.
There's a difference.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. You're catching us on our good days.
Yeah, so thank you for the kind words on that one. Honestly, I was just fishing for compliments with that question. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you dislike about the podcast?
No, we skip that one.
Well, I really appreciate it. About half people just said nothing or left it
nice.
blank. So we got some MTG references. Interviews could be better, more preparation. You know, I agree with that. I don't know how Sean Evans does it. I think it's the hot wings.
Interviewing's hard.
Yeah.
Also, I will say, I will just say for the listeners, Jake does try to prepare quite a bit. I cannot say the same for myself. So totally fair.
I prepare excessively for everything related to the podcast, but the interviews, I think I spend more time researching the guest than like actually writing questions for the guest.
Yeah.
But I do think listening back that I have improved a little bit with like the Jaunty one. I had some questions that I think generated some really good conversations. So I'm working on it. I hear that feedback.
Fair feedback, for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Somebody said they want more sports talk.
Heyo, don't gotta tell me twice.
And then somebody said, "What do you dislike about the podcast?" Sports.
Sports.
So,
Mixed reviews.
yeah, mixed reviews. Somebody said, "I don't need quite the extensive cold opens. I usually skip through these."
Oof. Yeah.
You can't skip them if they're spread throughout the whole thing, sucker.
We got a whole episode.
No, there was some good feedback on here for things to work through, and we appreciate it. That's what we were asking for.
Yep. You're always trying to get better.
Well, which types of content would you like to see more of? Almost everyone said tool time. People seem to really like that. Mm-hmm. And then there's a tie on the second most request was interviews and set reviews. People like those.
Cool.
So I thought that was good because that's the stuff that we intend to continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll have some more tool time episodes coming out soon. But yeah, this grab bag episode kind of had to happen, and the 40th episode felt like the right time to do it because we have so many questions to catch up on.
Yes, we do.
We'll try to do better in the future of like mixing them into actual episodes, but we don't want our episodes to be an hour long. Yeah. Do you have any other feedback for us? Some nice words were in here. Consider getting yourself to bigger events as OP grows.
Heyo.
We'll see you in Atlanta.
See you in Atlanta.
Make sure you have business cards to give away. That's not going to happen, but maybe we'll have stickers.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know why I just said that.
Yeah, there's no way
we may or may not have stickers. People were saying don't really talk too much about news. Yeah, I only talk about news stuff if it's like really exciting or interesting to me. Keep being wholesome. Good energy.
Check.
Skip news.
Check.
How do I actually like play cards in the game? Like actual gameplay tips. We're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
In general, we've skipped that because normally in limited, the part that's the most different is building your deck. So that's what we spend the most time talking on.
Right.
But we definitely should have some time talking about challenging and inking, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit of that in the last episode.
This review was submitted by your Discord member and Gator fan, Martin Carp.
Martin Carp.
Shouldn't have read that. We do not support Gator fans around here. Yeah. Cover higher profile draft and sealed events. Yeah, we absolutely will.
Yeah.
The more popular draft and sealed becomes, the more we'll talk about that.
The more we can, for sure.
I mean, we are waiting on news from Ravensburger related to draft and sealed. Now that the Lorecast is going, I'm hoping that they'll touch on it eventually, but I get it. Their priority right now is just constructed and getting these challenges going,
right?
All of that sort of stuff. So they'll get to us eventually. Yeah, keep up the sports references. Thank you for this person that's doubling down on sports.
Really doubling down.
Yeah, because that's what we do.
Yep.
How's your bracket looking?
Not great, Bob. Not great.
Yeah, we can fast forward in time and know that it's probably not looking too good.
Probably not getting better. No. Maybe, though. The thing about the bracket is really just you need the end to be good. And I got my Final Four teams still alive. So, maybe. Maybe not at this point.
I'm 3 for 4 on Final Four. At this point, though, that's probably no longer true.
Yeah.
At this time, will it be over?
No.
2 weeks and 3 days from now?
I don't think so. No. Close.
2 weeks. Okay. All right. You want to get some questions?
Let's do it.
Question time.
All right.
Okay. So there's a lot of them. So we're going to... I didn't realize how many questions we hadn't answered until I started going through... started to go through this. So
our apologies.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not gonna try to rush or anything. We still might not get through everything. We'll just sort of see how it goes. But we're gonna start off with a question that we received via email, and then we'll hop into the Discord questions.
Perfect. Should I say the name?
You can just say like the first letter.
Cool.
We don't know if this person's cool with us saying their name.
Right. So we got an email from Jay. So I'll read the questions. Jake will answer. He's the expert. First of all, does limited refer to drafting or only being able to play 2 colors? Do you want to answer that before I read the rest, or should I read it all?
Limited refers to any format where you show up to it without a deck.
Perfect.
So draft and sealed are the most common, but technically a starter deck event is technically also limited. We don't really talk about that all that much. Cube is another format that's gaining in popularity in the Lorcana scene. That's also a limited format. Being able to play 2 colors, that doesn't have anything to do with the word limited. That's only a restriction that exists in constructed formats.
Right on. Okay, so Jay goes on to say, my favorite cards are cards that do what they do in the movie. For instance, Perdita can go back and fetch a puppy that's lagging behind, or Grandma Tala can still help you after she dies by turning into ink. Do you guys have a favorite card that does what it does in the movie? I think that's a great question, by the way, because that is fun. Fun little flavor.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a good answer to this. Do you
What about
have
the
an
lamp?
answer off the top of your head? The
No,
lamp?
I don't have an answer off the top of my head, honestly.
Maybe Chernobog. That one's pretty cool.
You just straight back to the well. This guy can't stay away from the bog. Dude.
I like Chernobog because like he uses all of those little minions to summon himself, and then they all die.
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
All right, fine. It fits.
Do you have an answer?
No.
Okay. Stampede.
Oh, God.
Wait, Stampede. Deal 2 damage to chosen damaged character. And it's the art from when
From
Mufasa.
it's like acting so innocent. It's like a casual little
Yeah.
stampede. You'll beat somebody while they're down. And
Is
it's
that your
like,
answer,
My
Stampede?
answer is stampede. Stampede.
Survey says.
Ding, ding, ding.
Good
Stampede.
answer. Good answer. We did those in the wrong order, but whatever. Yeah, Stampede's great.
That's the answer.
Okay. That's
right.
Jay's. Wait. Did you read all of that? Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
Mm-hmm, I did.
So our answers were Chernobog and Stampede.
Yep. Naturally Nani 4 in the Discord had a question. Just getting my feet wet with Discord. Welcome. I thought I'd start by creating your podcast content for you with the following 2 questions.
To be fair, that's how I worded it. They're not being rude.
Okay. Can you talk more about the origin of certain terminology?
Yes.
Do I read all this?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, look, I'm actually asking you to talk about magic. Wow, Jake's favorite thing. I'm new to TCGs, and I've learned what wheels and ramp are, and my understanding is that these terms originated from the names of magic cards with related abilities. The one I can't figure out is cantrip. I've deduced that it means a card that replaces itself with card draw, but the terminology is so foreign I can't figure out where the meaning comes from. Please enlighten me. I'm sure that there are other terms that could be explained.
Yeah, I'll just explain cantrip because there's a lot of terms. If you have a question about a specific one, feel free to ask in the Discord. But cantrip actually is a carryover term from Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D.
Magic was originally made as a game to play in between rounds of competitive RPG games.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so Dungeons and Dragons used to be you can still do it. It used to be played competitively. Wow. Like you would get points based on the things that your team accomplished, like characters or like enemies killed and loot gained and stuff like that.
That's kind of cool, actually.
And so sometimes if you finished early, you'd have to sit for like an hour or 2 while you waited on other groups. And while in between, they would play this game called Magic. Well, cantrip in Dungeons and Dragons is just like a really, really basic spell that a character can cast for free.
Yep.
So like changing the color of something or like making a little noise or something like that. That's like basic magic that a character can do for free. Mm-hmm. So in Magic, it carried over because a cantrip is just a card that replaces itself, and it's usually cheap. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Question
distract,
answered.
Distract is like a cantrip.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, question 2 from...
Well, hang on.
Oh, no.
Yes, yeah, we can do question 2 from her, and then... Or, sorry, from them. And then let's hop around a bit.
Okay.
Because I sort of grouped the questions by who asked them, and I want to try to get to at least one
Got you.
question
Okay.
from
Well,
everyone.
then, yeah, let's scroll down. Let's not do questions.
Well, these are asked back to back.
Okay.
Actually, that's a big question. Let's skip that one. So let's move on.
All right.
We'll come back to Nani.
Is it Siam? Siam from Discord. What makes Mystic Armorer so much better in Limited versus Constructed? Is it just the wrong meta for it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, because sometimes cards are bombs in Limited, and then they'd never see play in Constructed.
Right.
So yeah, Fairy Godmother is from the second set from
Wait.
Rise of the Floodborn.
Yeah, okay.
You pay 5 for a 3/4 that quests for 2. Whenever this character quests, your characters gain Challenger +3, and and they also gain when this character is banished in a challenge, return this card to your hand this turn. Zazzle and a couple of other people said this in the Discord, and they're right. It's mainly because challenging is so prevalent in Limited compared to Constructed. It's like the only way to get things off the board. There's not a whole lot of removal around. So you have to be doing challenges. So something that gives something else challenger is really big, right? Because it means that your cheaper things can now trade up for more expensive things, which earns you ink value over time. And then also, this is really good for card advantage because it allows you to make a trade without losing that card in the process. If your character dies, it goes back to your hand, and you now have that card as a resource again. So in Constructed, it's just not efficient enough. That ability, it's the same reason that we don't really see the Dr. Facilier from set 1 around anymore. That's just not a type of card advantage that you want in Constructed, but you're happy to settle for it in Limited. In Constructed, you want to be drawing cards. Not really drawing a card in Constructed is typically what you prefer. In Limited, we would prefer that as well, but we're also happy to just have our cards come back to our hands.
Right.
So it's the card advantage is not good enough for Constructed, and we don't care about challenging as much in Constructed. That's why it's a bomb in Limited, but never saw play in Constructed.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Different formats want different things, and she does everything that we want in Limited, and she's just not as good. There are better versions of what she does for Constructed.
Constructed, yeah. Great.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Good question, Sia.
Siam.
Sia MN.
Oh, Sia maybe is from Minnesota. I think it's just Siam.
Wait, why would they be from Minnesota?
MN.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It's just Siam. Their name's probably just Siam.
With an N on the end?
Yeah. Silent M. You ever heard of like a hymn?
Yeah.
I know you have.
Sham.
I don't know why. I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right either, but I don't know why.
Hey, Sia HMN. Let us know how to pronounce your name.
You just keep saying less letters and saying the actual letter. You're gonna be like
SIAHMN. Let us know how to say your name.
All right, a pizzle for shizzle in the Discord. Question for post-event reviews. Now that you've played one or more events, what is one card you underrated, and what is one card? Wait, it's the same thing. Maybe they meant overrated.
Yeah.
What's one card you underrated and one card you overrated?
So I guess they asked this question right after, or like a week after the newest set was released.
Yep.
So a card that I underrated, I mentioned this earlier. I just didn't realize how good it was at the time, which is what underrated means. Genie, Supportive Friend. You pay 4 for a 3/5 that quests for 1. Whenever this character quests, you may shuffle this card into your deck to draw 3 cards. It's uninkable. So I was like, I just didn't really realize how flexible it was. Like when you need a body out, it's great. And sometimes you don't need that. You just need to draw cards. And then he does that. Like drawing 3 cards is a lot of cards.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So definitely Genie. Like Genie is a lot better than I predicted. I think originally I might have had him at like a B-, but now I consider him probably like a B+. So
nice.
He's really good.
Yeah. What about overrated?
I have this. My answer is the same one as a Pizzle Fo Shizzle. They shared their answers. How far I'll go. I think it is a good card, but I think I had it at like a B- maybe, and it's just not as good as I thought it was gonna be in practice. Because, yeah, in like the scenario where you can sing it on turn 5, it's really good, but it's hard. It's like outside of that, it's really awkward. Like you don't really want to pay 4 ink to do this. Like you will do it on later turns, but it's like I haven't been as happy to have this in my hand as I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like I still think it's a good card. I'm still happy to take it, but I think I had it in the B range, and I think it actually belongs kind of in like the C range in reality.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I'd rather just play like a 4-drop. So that's my answer for how far I'll go. Oh, I'm sorry. What the card does. It's a song. It costs 4. It's uninkable. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put 1 into your hand and the other into your inkwell face down and exerted. We like drawing cards and we like ramping, but ramping on turn 5 is not nearly as valuable as ramping on like turn 2 or 3.
Just a wee too late.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I overrated that. I'm not down. I'm not ashamed to say it. Good question.
Good question. All right, going on to Martin Karp in the Discord. Jake, would you cheer against your child, your own flesh and blood, if they were playing Cherry Grape Control?
Yeah, Cherry Grape Control is I'm assuming they're talking about um, purple, red, sorry, amethyst, ruby control. Like, I think they asked this in like set 2.
Yeah.
Yes, I would cheer against my child if they were playing that deck.
No, you wouldn't. You liar.
Well, am I playing them?
Your child. Yeah, good question.
If they're playing Uncle Taylor, I'm going to cheer for my kid no matter what they're doing, even if they cheat.
Okay.
Yeah, we can read another question from Martin Karp. They have a
with
few.
the new update on Store Championships, are y'all excited to play that format and get the Stitch promos?
Bold of you to assume I'm going to get the Stitch promo. Yes, I am excited. I like playing Lorcana. I know we talk about limited. That's just because that's what I know a little bit more about than constructed. Actually, I know quite a bit more about that. Not to say that I'm like an expert on limited. I just don't know much about constructed at all.
Yeah.
But I like it. I really like playing it. And yes, I am excited. I'm excited to do anything related to Lorcana that's like officially put on by Ravensburger. Sorry, Ravensburger. We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Of course I'm excited. They're sending out really cool cards that people can win. Even if I don't win them, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, if I win, I'll be stoked. But I'm more interested in the playmat than the card. Because I would use the playmat. For the card, I would probably just, like, sell it.
Yeah.
Or hold on to it with the intention to sell it. So,
Fair.
Yeah, that's my answer. I'm excited.
Cool.
Are you excited?
So excited.
Are you going to play in it?
Yeah.
There's one happening a month before. I just broke my chair. A month before the challenge in Atlanta.
The challenge. It's just gonna be practice for me. It's just
that's what I'm thinking.
Stepping stone for me before the big pond.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Do I wish limited was involved? Sure.
Yes.
Would limited being involved mean I'm more likely to win one of these things? Absolutely. Am I still gonna win one of these things?
Absolutely.
It depends who shows up. All right.
Tempest George in the Discord. Can you
Great
go
name.
Yeah, great name. Can you go more into depth about inking? Like, when is the best time to ink any cards or ink certain cards? What's a good inkwell amount to stay at? And just any other things you want to say about inking. Also, I know you generally want to go up to your highest ink card, especially if it's uninkable, but what are the benefits and downsides of going higher exactly? Talk about inking, Jake.
Yeah, that's a big question that probably would warrant its own episode. I mean, I think like eventually we'll do an episode about like each of the core pieces of the game.
Yeah.
Inking is something that I think is really, really tricky. And I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot inking without realizing it.
Right.
And by a lot of people, I mean myself.
I was thinking me.
At the end of the game, take your inkwell and flip it over and ask yourself if it would have been nice to have any of those cards.
I don't think I will.
At various points in the game.
No, I don't think I will.
And then wonder if you inked properly. That's not a definitive rule. Sometimes you just have to ink what you ink. But it is a good practice to start doing. What's the best time to ink any cards or ink certain cards? What's a good inkwell amount to stay at? Okay.
Maybe focus on that.
I'm going to give some vague rules because this is a really broad question. But in limited, you want to spend the most ink possible. So if you only have one 3-drop in your hand, don't ink your 3-drop on turn 1, right? Like you don't want to just think about what am I going to ink and play this turn. Think about like for the next 3 turns, what am I inking and what am I playing? Obviously, you're drawing off the top of your deck, so you don't know. But if you only have one 3-drop in hand, don't ink it because you're going to want to use it and play it on turn 3.
Right.
But let's say it's turn 1 and you have 2 1-drops in hand and both of them are inkable. Well, that's an easy decision. You just ink one of them and you play the other one.
Right.
Because you want to be spinning your ink on curve.
Yep.
What if at the start of the game you have an inkable 7-drop in your hand? You should ink it.
Ink it.
If you have expensive, and you mentioned this, I know you generally want to go, oh, sorry, that's about something else. Yeah. Don't not ink an expensive card because it will impact the game if you can get to that ink amount. Just ink it now.
Yeah, it's too far ahead to be thinking.
You need to be playing your cards right now. You don't need to be planning to play a card 5 turns from now.
Right.
You don't have that luxury.
What if you never get there, you know?
Yeah. Especially if it's an expensive card, like 7 or 8 ink. that if that's in your hand, just consider it to be an ink symbol on turn one. Because you want the flexibility on the earlier turns, right? Like, let's say in my hand I have an inkable 8-drop, and I have 2 inkable 1-drops. I would still ink the 8-drop before I inked one of the 1-drops. Because let's say I can't spend my ink properly in the future on future turns or whatever, then maybe I can play on turn 3. I can play a 2-drop and a 1-drop or something like that. It can round out your curve. Whereas that 8 cost card, it's going to be hard to get to that point. So where to stop inking at? They said generally you want to go up to your highest ink card, especially if it's uninkable. I don't even know if that's true, right? Like, let's say I'm playing 2 7-drops in my deck. I don't know if I would want to go up to 7 ink unless I have a 7-drop in my hand. Like, I don't...
You may never see that card.
Yeah, the way I ink is I act like a card in terms of inking. I act like it doesn't exist until I see it, right? Like, if my 2 7-drops are at the bottom of my deck, then why would I go up to 7 ink?
Yep.
Right? And it's not a strict rule either. Like, sometimes I'll go up to 7 ink if it means I can play a 3 and a 4-drop on a turn where it would be really important for me to do that.
Right.
Like, it's not a hard and fast rule, you know? So what I would say is don't just ink a card for no reason. You see a lot of newer players do that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, well, I have a card that I can ink, so I should do it. No, not necessarily.
Right.
Sometimes you shouldn't even go above 4 ink, you know? Like, if you're just trying to get cards on the board and your opponent is playing a really aggressive deck, sometimes it's not worth inking to go up to 5 ink if you don't have a 5 ink card in your hand to play. So in general, I ink the least amount that I can get away with, if that makes sense. Because every card that I ink is a card I did not play on the board.
Correct.
Right? Even if it's just an owl, even if it's just paying 1 for a do-2, that is on the board. If it's in my inkwell and doing nothing and I never use it, then I've just burned a resource for nothing. So I ink pretty conservatively. I don't ink anything until I have to. And I try to keep my curve in mind. Think 2 turns in advance. What am I going to play? What am I going to ink? And try to spend as much ink as possible.
Boom.
So if I have multiple of 1 cost in my hand, I'll ink one of those. So if my opening hand has 2 inkable 4-drops, I'll ink one of them early in the game because I know I'm not playing both of them on turn 4.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Those are some general rules, George, or Tempest George. Hopefully that's helpful. Maybe we'll do an episode on this in the future, but it's like a really complicated topic.
Right.
Honestly, you just have to have hands and like talk through what you should ink.
Right. And that's probably just like, you know, with playing, with seeing a bunch of different hands. The more hands you see, the more you're going to have an understanding of how to do that.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Do you want to answer any more questions?
Ask yourself, my friend. We can read one more.
Let's do that other question from Nani. We
Nani?
started it. Let's do that one from them, and then there's still 3 that we didn't get to, but that's okay. We'll get to them in the future.
Cool. All right. So question 2 from Nani was, how do you budget for limited play, and how do you approach card purchases in general? Do you want me to keep reading, or you want to answer that? Do you solely build a collection from playing in limited events, or do you also buy packs outside of limited to make constructed decks too, or just buy needed singles to flesh out decks for constructed? I realize there's going to be a lot of different approaches for different individuals, but curious to what your approach is, Jake. And at first, limited seemed to me like an expensive way to engage with the game. But now, after buying many packs and some singles, I was wondering if putting my money towards limited events where getting packs is part of the process would be just as effective. Of course, it would help if there were more limited events available. Preaching to the choir, we hear you. I haven't found any in my city. Oh, up in Canada. Hello, neighbors to the north. As of yet, but hopefully that will change in time. Thanks in advance for sharing your thoughts. So a lot in there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
For sure.
I am not a financial advisor, but I'll tell you what I do. I don't buy packs unless I'm opening them for limited events because it's just not worth it for me. Like, I enjoy opening packs, but I enjoy my money more than that. So I typically will only buy packs for draft or for sealed, or if we're doing content related to packs. And then anything else I need for constructed, I'll buy singles. And then anything that I don't want or don't intend to use, I'll just trade away. So I trade pretty often. And that's how I build up my collection. Usually I'll try to have like two constructed decks that I enjoy playing. One that's more competitive, and then one that I just think is more fun. So in this set, I have a red Fossa list that I've built out, which currently I think most of my monetary value in Lorcana is in that deck. Because I think it's competitive and I also enjoy playing it, but it's not like maybe tier 1 competitive. It's maybe like tier 2. So what I do is I open packs when I do limited events. I take cards that I want or need, and then at the end, I trade away stuff. So like if I got a Robin Hood in the new set, I'll just trade it away because I don't need that $30 card. I'm not playing Steel.
Yeah.
And I'll trade it away for, a couple of Mauis or maybe for a Maleficent from set 1. So I just found that that's what works for me. I enjoy limited enough to pay for the cost to do a limited event.
Right.
I don't enjoy opening a pack enough to pay $6 to open a pack.
Right.
But it's different for different people. If you just love opening packs and it's worth it for you and you have the money, send it.
Go off, yeah.
But to me, that's just not exactly how I want to spend my money. No, I'm not like sitting on my high horse like, oh, look at me being wise with my money.
No.
This is a trading card game. Like we're paying a premium for pieces of cardboard. Like I realize that this is a luxury hobby for people that have disposable income.
Yeah.
Like I have no misconceptions about that.
Right.
But that's just how I choose to spend my money.
Yeah.
And once this game gets popular enough, your shop will maybe buy cards from you. That's what I like to do with Magic still. I'll just do a draft and then just sell everything back to the shop. So if I open anything, I'll just sell it to them for whatever they're willing to pay me, because I don't care if I'm getting a good deal, because I don't care about the cards. Like I'm not gonna make my own store online to sell them. I'll just take the cut and sell it to my LGS.
So you immediately get that back. Yeah. Sorry, was there more on this that you want to expand on?
Probably, but that's it.
I feel like you talked a little bit about trading, so kind of want to actually go into that. I think Martin Karp mentioned trading and just like your approach to trading. So maybe we wrap up questions with that. So
yeah,
how do y'all feel about trading? Do you go value for value?
Thanks for saying y'all. Keep going.
Card for card or a different method. Just traded with an off the clock cast member in the Springs. They got bulk.
Now hang on.
What does that mean?
You can tell Martin Karp spent some time at Disney because he's using colloquial terms to refer to places at Disney.
Yeah, dude.
In the Springs.
In the Springs. I was like, where are we? It sounded so cool, though. Yeah, I just traded with an off-the-clock cast member in the Springs.
Where were they? At a place that you and I don't have the money to go to.
We'll never go. We'll never be. They got bulk. Martin Karp got base morph, Eric, and Grandma Tala. In terms of value, Martin Karp fleeced them, but value never came up. So just curious, how do you approach trading? You mentioned you trade a lot.
Yeah. I don't get fleeced, and I would discourage intentionally fleecing other people. But I think two consenting adults can just do whatever they want with trades. Like, they got what they wanted. You got what you wanted. I'm fine with that.
Right. Kind of one of those things like, I don't need an input. I don't need to have an opinion on your trade. Yeah,
you do you, Martin Karp. I don't think you did anything immoral. Like, they got what they wanted. They are an adult with a phone that can Google what cards cost.
Yeah.
I don't really see. But maybe I'm just rude. I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with that. Maybe you could bring it up and be like, hey, just so you know, I know you're getting a lot of cards, but I'm getting more monetary value. If you feel bad about it, maybe you could bring that up. But if this is with a kid, don't fleece kids. I know you're not doing that, Martin Karp. And this is not in any way me like scolding you. This is me scolding things that I see happen. Kids get involved in trading card games and adults take advantage of them.
Gross.
Don't do that.
No.
I can't say what I want to say to you because we try to keep this podcast safe for kids to listen to. But if you do that, you're not a cool person.
Also, just not even just kids too, but like new players. Like maybe a new player, you'll see that. Don't take advantage of that. People who don't know, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
don't take advantage of people that don't know what they're doing. But if you're both adults and they got what they wanted out of it and you got what you wanted out of it, great.
Perfect.
But they said, how do you feel about trading? I'm a big fan. Do you go value for value? Yes. I pull up TCG Player and I look at the market value, and that's how I establish trades.
You're going by money.
Oh, yeah. Exactly, going for money. And then card for card, I don't do card for card. I go by money. And then I'm okay to gain or lose a couple of bucks. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Like, some people will be like, oh, it's off by $1. Can you give me this or that? If it's that close, I'm not gonna split hairs over it.
Right.
Also, I don't care about foils, so I will like trade foils away and get a lot of good value out of that. Because some people really care about having cool like foil cards, and I just don't really care about that.
Yeah.
So that's a good way that I'm able to get some more value in with my cards.
Nice. Love it.
And a lot of the people that I play with are all in on collecting, so that really helps. Because like they get what they want, which is to fill out their collection, and I get what I want, which is one competitive deck.
Nice.
Sweet. All right, man. There's a couple questions we didn't get to, but I think there's only 2 that we missed. Sweet.
Cool.
You ready for advice?
I am so ready. Probably not, but yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so we got an advice question via email from a person who will remain anonymous. We'll just refer to them as Jay. And this is a question for you.
Okay.
It's not for me, thankfully. And so I'm not going to give any input.
I'll give
but
my
remember,
best.
Taylor is a certified counselor.
Yes.
And so if you have any questions for him, you want some advice on something, come on.
Let me just say K through 12 is what I'm actually certified in, so don't take this as the word of
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
That's all we can ask. All right. So Jay says they had a longer email, but this is the part that's relevant for the advice segment. Something I think a lot of TCG players struggle with, as well as Disney fans, is FOMO. I get really so FOMO means fear of missing out. I get really bad anxiety about not buying a pack that could have the card that I need, or hitting all of the parks, or organizing all of my cards, or riding all of the rides. My mind often goes to the too good to be true, or worst case scenario. Will the plane crash before I get to Disney World? Will someone get sick and we'll have to cancel our trip? I think these concerns all tie into FOMO, fear of missing out. And it has a negative effect on my relationships because we have to agree on how to spend money and when to go back to the hotel to rest. Essentially, I have a lot of anxiety about canceled plans, and it causes me to mismanage my time and money. Do you have any advice on managing FOMO?
Big question.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to this.
Yeah, I think FOMO is like very, very, very common. I think a lot of people experience that just with like day-to-day stuff. So you're not alone in any regard as far as that's concerned. Having never been to Disney, I definitely can't speak to that. But I think it's pretty, like, that happens all the time, right? When you think about doing something, you think about the worst case scenario, or you think about best case scenario, and oftentimes it's just something in between. Something in between all that is going to happen. I think one thing that you could do that may help is think about those times, or like look back on decisions you've made and like knowing where your mind was at and what actually happened, like what was the actual outcome, or think about decisions you want to make and what is the most likely outcome. Yeah, could the plane crash? Planes do crash, right? But how often does that actually happen? So try to think of just like when you find your mind, doing that, running those circles around, because it's just a loop, right? Actually write down like what is the most likely outcome, or what did actually happen when I decided, to go do that. And some stuff you can, maybe help with, like if are you gonna have to cancel a trip? Is someone gonna get sick? Maybe you pay that extra $50 for that insurance on your trip. If it's something that you can afford to do, the peace of mind that will bring you may be worth it in those regards. So I don't know, fear of missing out, it's gonna happen. It happens to everyone. I don't even know if I gave advice. I don't know if that's helpful, but.
So do you think actually writing, like keeping a record of like things that didn't go wrong is helpful.
I don't know if you should necessarily like keep a whole record. I'm thinking of like when I work with kids, right? They'll bring something to me and it's like you experience things, right? And then you decide in your mind why that thing happened. So all the kid like, oh, this person was laughing and looking at me in the lunchroom, like they're laughing at me, right? Your mind's like they're making fun of me, they're talking to their friend. I was like, maybe that is the case. But what are like 10 other scenarios? Like, is it possible their friend just told them a joke? Is it possible, like the thing that you settle on of being the reason is just what you tell yourself and repeat to yourself. We do it about ourselves all the time to make sense of what's happening around us. But our version of what is happening is not always exactly what's happening. So I don't know that you need to like log every decision you ever make. Like that probably is not healthy, but just look back on like a couple times where you really did do this and just, try to reflect on that.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Maybe.
Let us say, Jay, right in. Was that good advice?
Fear of missing out. I guess just do everything. Do it all.
Yeah, I think FOMO is something a lot of people can relate to. I think a lot of TCG players really feel that with like, especially if you're like a completionist, you feel like you need to complete your collection. So, Jay, you're not alone in this. Thank you for writing in.
Yeah, if you're out there, like speak to this in the Discord. Share something that maybe you experienced or share what helps if you go through that and you found ways that help.
Yeah, I definitely have FOMO. FOMO, I experience more with like friend groups. I'm kind of spinning a lot of plates in terms of like I have different friend groups and not like separate intentionally, but like I have different hobbies. So
yeah,
those hobbies often come with different groups. And so sometimes I feel FOMO from like, oh, the disc golf guys are getting together, but I can't join because I have plans, or I can't make it to watch Survivor this week or whatever, and I feel like I'm missing out on things.
Yeah.
So I can definitely relate in that regard. I think all of us feel this in different ways, especially as the whole world is just chronically online right now.
Right. You're seeing everything that you could be doing but aren't doing.
Yeah, you're not even missing out on experiences anymore. Now you're missing out on being aware of the correct TV show to be watching.
Right.
Like you're missing out on things that don't even really exist.
Right. This is like part of the reason I deleted Instagram, because I just feel like I would just log on and be like, wow, look at all these cool things everyone is doing.
Yeah.
And then I would just be like, what am I doing? So it happens.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
It's real.
FOMO is very real. If you want to chat through this or any of our questions, or if you want to ask us questions for, advice from Taylor, or just questions about Lorcana, or you just want to hang out with like-minded people, hop on our Discord. We chat there every day about random things.
Yep.
Sometimes it's March Madness. Sometimes it's Dune 2. That's about it. And you can email us, fortyborn@gmail.com.
Yep. Letters, not the numbers.
Yeah. Man, 40 episodes down.
Wow. I feel like you should like celebrate.
Yeah. I agree. I just don't know how.
I just don't know how.
I would say a giveaway, but I haven't opened Enchanted yet, so
You better get on that.
I'll work on it. It's for the pod. I'll tell that to the government.
Yeah.
All right. Bye everybody.
See ya.